clinical student and be able to replicate everything that we've done when we're in person, right? And how do I connect to our students? How do I care for them? Because in the past, I was able to say, hey, you look hungry. Okay, come over, I'll cook for you. Now I can't do that. So how do I reach out and care for that individuals? So of course, as a healthcare provider, same thing, what can I do, and then to support the clinical team, and then at the same time to take care of the patient that we work with on a daily basis. So of course, my other community will be my family, right? How do I take care of my parents? How do I take care of my in-laws? How do I take care of my husband? How do I help out with my very mean, bossy teenager? So all that is changing.
I started to think about relationships. In the past, we kind of maybe thought about, we go to school, we physically go there or whatever, but now we have to really think about the relationships we have. So anyway, it can be challenging sometimes to keep everything going. Maybe I'll say the last couple of days, I've been on so many Zoom calls with, I was on a Zoom call with my brother for his birthday, and it was really lovely. It was beautiful. And I haven't seen him for so long. So it was really nice. So I think that's one of the things to think. How do we keep our relationships going, but in a different way?
Has kind of made me think that basically community is what we make it. There are definitely set communities in proximity of each other, like Dr. Zanoni was saying. But now that we're all kind of physically isolated from each other, we can reach out to each other in all these amazing ways virtually. So just because my family lives out in California doesn't mean they're not part of my community, because I can Zoom call them, like Dr. Zanoni was saying. So cultivating those relationships and basically just realizing that you can make your community whatever you want to make it. And I just think that's really beautiful that we have that ability.
You can't really control how life has changed. You can't control that, but you can control how you react to how life has changed. So the thing is, you have to be able to realize, yes, things are different, but I have to change along with these changes so that I can still be happy. I can still work on myself. I can still do these things. So like everyone's saying, try your best to reach out to people. Try your best to communicate with people who you can communicate with. That's the only way you will still be happy when things are changing, or else you'll be sad and you'll be lonely. So you have to try your best to look inside and be like, I can adapt, I can change as well.
It's been difficult for all of us. I mean, throughout all of the populations, from children not being able to go outside freely and play to the elderly that are the most vulnerable. And as students, as a student, it's been tough for me too, especially as an M1. I was so excited to think about going into the cadaver lab and, cutting up the body and learning anatomy that way, frequently going into the cadaver lab, and I couldn't do that. I only got a few chances. So it's been tough, but you have to make the adjustments, and like Colin said, you have to adapt. You have to change your mindset with the times and persist. So I say find that courage within yourself and push forward. You can do this.
This social capital be that support system for you. And once you have the relationship in your community, you can reach out. That's part of the adaptations. Part about how are we going to modify, how can we make things better and work with the limited, whatever stuff we have right now in front of us. And then social action is that the actionable piece, right? It's the practice of taking actions.
Started, or you might think that you don't know much, this is a great place to go, find a mentor, get informed, get educated, and they really give you the tools to help you succeed in civil discourse. Megan, you want to introduce the other organization?
Right. So the other example that we're giving, so there are a lot of ways to get involved into social action, even if you really don't have a background in it. And some of these organizations, this one is called Good Kids Mad City. I'm not sure if anyone's heard of this. I think it started a couple years ago in response to gun violence, but really now it's become this really important community organization that has a pretty big audience, which is trying to bring young community members, so that is the youth, together to build this nurturing welcome community that is targeted to getting young people engaged.
Something what we think is very powerful, which is community productive power. So definition for that is that everyone has a role to play in building a healthier, more vibrant community. It is because a healthy community benefit everyone, right? So a healthy community is an imperfect place and in an ever-changing state that builds a culture supporting healthy life choices and high quality of life.
Have any sort of impact? Every little thing can help better your community, whether that's I know that there's another organization, I think they're called My Block, My Hood, My City. They do a lot of organizing of block cleanups. So they'll go, especially around the riots, they were going up and they were just picking up trash and cleaning up the actual streets themselves. And I know they do it in multiple neighborhoods, and that's just one thing. They have a bunch of other stuff that they get organized with. But you don't even need to be part of an organization to do something.
Learn different perspectives, different identities, different cultures, and you're really enhancing yourself, one, as a student, two, as a community member, and three, as an overall person. I think that's very important. The issues that you guys might be, have a particular interest in. Two, planning. Kind of look to see, do your research to see what kind of organizations and what kind of institutions and organizations are involved with these issues. Three, action. Sign up, sign petitions, go lobby, learn how to vote. A reflection. I think this is a good time. Being involved in a lot of different organizations or institutions, it's a good thing to reflect on the purpose, the process, and the impact that you're making, and kind of learning from that as well. And demonstration, this can be kind of explained as kind of giving it, passing along, telling others all about the projects, what you're doing, kind of sharing the resources that you come up with as well. One great way to get involved with a service learning project is by volunteering.
Set that up.
And remember, what do we mean by community productive power? We're basically asking, what can you do right now in your community to address something that's important to you? Many of you all already kind of talked about that in your murals, so you can also utilize the responses that you did in the breakout rooms. So There's no right or wrong answer, just tell us your thoughts.
First of all, I think that this video embodied everything that there is to know about equity versus equality. So you take a situation where you have the same thing, right? So let's look at our educational system. So within the city limits in Chicago public schools, our educational system in the state of Illinois is funded based off of property taxes. Property taxes in Chicago are pretty low compared to our suburban, surrounding suburban areas. So if we know we have all of the issues that exist in these urban settings, issues with violence, issues with food insecurity, and then you go out to the surrounding suburbs, they don't have those issues. Of Brooklyn, I believe, they have the highest incidence of asthma, in the US. And they also had the highest incidence of COVID and COVID deaths. Guess why? That's an environmental disparity. It's environmental injustice. So coming back home in the city of Chicago, if you live downtown, your life expectancy is 86 years, right? It's 86 point something. But take a 20-minute drive to Austin, the community of Austin. Your life expectancy is decreased by 20 years. That is a problem. So in 20 minutes, I lose 20 years. So you have to look at all of those social determinants of health, right? So environmentally, what's going on? What's going on in these communities? We also have another fight that's happening with, what is the name of the company? General Iron. So General Iron wants to move from Lincoln Park into the southeast side of Chicago, where guess what? Here's another issue. So now you want to pollute the air even further on that side of town. So when I think about the social determinants of health, I'm thinking about all of those injustices. And then what is my role and what is my responsibility in addressing that? So I can't just not be a racist, but you have to be an anti-racist. And when you're anti-racist, that means you have to use your voice, use your platform to call these things out. So if you're not comfortable with, really being the rah-rah, fight, then, make your circle aware. So that is what I thought about when I was thinking about the social determinants of health.
Critical health literacy framework, but what we really want to drive home is this idea that even as youth, we can be agents of change. So like we said, we talked about last week, everyone can have an impact in their own community. Everyone can, be an agent of change. And whether that is through advocacy, whether that means that you're, bringing an awareness to an issue, whether that means you're working in a group of individuals, or that means you're working with an organization like MIVCA or with Good Kids Mad City. There are a lot of opportunities should you take the, a little bit of initiative to get yourself involved in something that you may, feel strongly about.